This year, it's Easton's 100th anniversary, and to say congratulations, well, I wanted to dedicate an episode specifically to them, and I headed out to their factory for a tour to see exactly how arrows are made. Now, if you're like me, you probably had no idea, and it's pretty awesome to know that this small, family-owned company started out in the United States and is still American-made and still family-owned. They make incredible products, and we're gonna take a tour through the factory, plus hit you with some pretty good bow hunts to show you how everything works full circle from in the factory all the way to the field.
My whole body is just shaking.
My love of bow hunting started at a very early age. I picked up my first bow at 5 years old, and I was absolutely hooked. This is something I absolutely loved, and now for years and years, well, I spend more time in the field than I am at home, and bow hunting is a huge part of that. And one thing I wanted to do is look into a little bit more about where my arrows are made. Now, what I love, I've shot Easton arrows for years, and they're made in the US. And you don't find a ton of companies that do that anymore. So I wanted to travel to Salt Lake City, check it out for myself, and see how these arrows are actually made, plus see them put to work right in the field. We're here in Salt Lake City, and we are at the Easton headquarters, and we're going to take a tour of the factory. Now, Clint Warner, he's here with us. He's the Director of Product Development, and we're going to go through the factory. We're going to see how these Easton arrows are made that I've been shooting for many, many years.
We want you to see our aluminum factory. We're going to go over to the carbon side of things. We're going to show you how our carbon arrows are made, how we decorate them, knock them, package them, the whole 9 yards.
And what's awesome is this is an American company. This is being made right here in the USA, and it's just awesome to see all that, to know the details, and to know what goes into it to make us successful hunters. So we're gonna head inside, follow along.
Easton's roots go back to 1922, when Doug Easton began making archery equipment by hand. Over the years, Easton expanded and innovated, first in facilities in California, to today, where Easton is renowned through products made in its Utah, Iowa, and Indiana factories. Easton's premier tubing products are used in fields such as archery, mountaineering, military, and healthcare. Easton's Salt Lake City headquarters date back to the early 1980s, where the company first expanded beyond its California roots. Today, Easton carbon, aluminum, and dual material arrow shafts and tubing products are made right here in this 100,000 square foot facility.
The aluminum we use has to be super perfect. Can't have any flaws in it. And so we're using a legitimate aerospace grade material. You know, it's the same type of quality that would go on a wing of an airplane. So we require that, and that's what we need in order to make an arrow that's as good as we need it to be.
Aluminum tubes start with special strips of aerospace-grade alloys from Alcoa. Custom equipment rolls and fuses the stock to form a uniform cylinder.
And so it cuts them here to about 6 feet long. That's kind of how they start. They're not strong at this point. You couldn't use them as an arrow. They need a lot of processing. But this is how everything we make starts, right off that welder.
Melissa Bachman started using Easton Arrows back in 2012 on one of her most memorable bow hunts in Iowa over a decoy.
Now, kicking it off to one of my very first hunts using the brand new Easton injections, well, that was in Iowa, and I headed out there. I had an incredible rut hunt, and decoying is a huge part of what I do.
When we return, Melissa releases her first Easton arrow nearly 10 years ago on a big Iowa buck.
My whole body is just shaking.
And we continue the tour and learn how Easton Archery produces the best arrows in the world. This segment was brought to you by DSG Outerwear, doing something great for women in the outdoors by outfitting with the ultimate in fit, function, warmth, and comfort in women's hunting gear. Designed specifically for women, by women. Outfitting every season from sizes extra small to 5XL. Visit dsgouterwear.com to find a retailer near you. This segment was brought to you by Sportsman's Alliance, protecting hunting, fishing, and trapping while promoting our outdoor heritage. You're watching the Easton Archery Tour with Melissa Bachman, celebrating 100 years of innovation, integrity, and leadership.
Now this is a forming die that's going to take the tube and it's going to reduce it, and it's going to get smaller in diameter, and the wall will get thinner. And so, because obviously this isn't an arrow, it's not something you're going to shoot, it has a lot of work to go to get it from this to something like that. Now this is the smallest tube we make. This is actually the inside of an X10. So that's a really tiny core tube, but it's interesting. That started out as that.
Incredible.
Back in 2012, Melissa Bachman started using Easton arrows on all her bow hunts. Her most memorable hunt, a big Iowa buck sidestepping into a decoy at 20 yards.
I was able to take a perfect shot. This buck didn't go far, heart shot him, and it's just incredible to have an experience like that. A big Iowa deer right there. I was so excited. I was literally just shaking in the tree. One of the most exciting hunts you can do, and a great way to kick off my first season using the Easton injection arrows.
What an awesome buck. Look at the tine length on this. I was so shook up when he came into my decoy. I don't know if I could have told you how big he is, but look at this. Just nice to see all your hard work pay off. We stuck it out, and I'm taking home a beautiful Iowa buck.
So heading back to the factory, now we're going to the next portion of building these arrows out. Now you'd think, okay, it's just a simple arrow, there can't be that many processes. Well, there's a lot to it. If I had pork chop with me, my little dog, I know right where she'd be curled up. It's nice and warm here.
Yeah.
So these are your ovens?
And so these are the ovens that we use for annealing to make the metal softer, and for helping out in the heat treat process to help make the metal stronger. It has to go at a certain temperature for the right amount of time, and then go to a new temperature for the right amount of time, and then it has to cool down at just the right amount of time. And if you don't do that, it'll mess everything up. Before we heat treat it, it's important that the tubes are clean. So right here we have a lot of tanks of different chemicals that we use to wash all of that oil off the tubes before we run it through the heat treat machine. So we'll run it through some acid, different chemicals here, and then finally a hot water rinse that we do prior to running the tubes in the heat treat sequence. So let's walk over here and I'll show you how they're heat treated. So basically we're taking rock salt, heating it to the point that it's going to melt, and it's going to be upwards of 1,000 degrees. That rock salt will melt into a liquid, and we use that to get the aluminum to its heat treat temperature. That's how we do that.
You know, you don't really think of things like flames and arrows going together, but it's one of those things that you have to see to believe.
Easton Archery is celebrating 100 years of innovation, integrity, and leadership. Easton has produced an exclusive set of arrows to mark this amazing 100-year celebration. Look for the Full Metal Jacket Autumn Orange 340s this summer and mark your history with Easton Archery. Winchester Deadly Passion is presented by Winchester, the American legend. Silencer Central, silencers made simple. Get better blood trails and quicker kills with Easton Axis Arrows. HHA Sports, range, dial, shoot. Scent Killer Gold with Hunt Dry Technology Plus. Apply it, dry it, and go hunt. Rage Broadheads, leading the evolution in lethal technology. Spy Point, the mobile scouting solution. Sportsman's Alliance, protecting hunting, fishing, and trapping in all 50 states. Moose Utility Division, your leader in ATV and UTV accessories. Shoot United, make the shooting sports a part of your life. Cold Steel, anytime, anywhere. Hunt Stand, the #1 hunting app in the world. And these other fine sponsors.
So now we're in the anodized area. Tell me about this.
Yeah, so anodizing is the process we use to put color into aluminum. So all of the arrows that we have, we need to anodize, otherwise they would corrode out in the elements. So anodizing is what we use to do that. So on this side of the room, we have all of the prep tanks. So this is where all of the tubes are washed and cleaned and prepped prior to going into the anodized tank. Now once an aluminum tube is anodized, it's sealed off, it's protected from corrosion. So that's why you can take something that would normally corrode in the element, anodize it, and then it's protected. That's why it works so great for hunting arrows.
So each tank it sits in, this cleans them, and then here they're popping out all
Yeah, so you'll see
camel
that's one
colored.
of our XX75 camo hunters that we've had forever. You see it coming out of the anodized tank. So now all the color that's in that, that's finished. Now that's ready at this point. That's ready for straightening and then ready to put the nocks in and the decals on. But at this point, the arrows are full strength. So they're as strong as they're ever going to be. They just need to be finished and made perfect.
From the anodized process, every Easton arrow or two goes through multiple straightening processes to ensure precision and accuracy. Some arrow tubes receive a unibushing that is mounted inside the shaft that allows the insulation of the nock that is used by archers to attach the arrow to the bowstring.
I had my camera set up in numerous different locations. Pork chop was sitting there right on my lap, and I was able to shoot a beautiful turkey. And the thing is, although most people think big game's probably the hardest to shoot, turkeys have to be very precise shooting. I made a great shot. Turkeys are smart, they're hard to get, and to be able to do it with archery gear, to be able to do it with pork chop right there by my side, well, I was pumped.
Look at the size of this turkey. All I could see were these two beards, and look at this, two huge beards. Just an awesome turkey.
You know, it's hunts like this that you'll always remember, and that's truly what bow hunting is all about. Those memories, those times in the field, and again, Easton was there.
Easton's innovative FMJ, or full metal jacket shaft, uses dual composition to get the unmatched precision characteristics of aluminum and the lightweight strength of carbon. The attributes of both materials work in concert, resulting in the world's most advanced arrow shafts. Every FMJ starts with a carbon core made using Easton's pultrusion process. Once the core and jackets are ready, they're permanently fused together using Easton's custom proprietary process. At the pinnacle of Easton's arrow technology is the aluminum carbon, or AC shaft. AC tubes leverage the strength of high modulus carbon pre-peg fiber, thermally bonded to a high-strength aluminum core. The synergy between the two materials creates superior spine accuracy, strength, and durability, and is used at the highest level of archery, including the Olympic Games. Easton, the longest-standing archery company in the United States, is proud to celebrate their 100th anniversary. This segment was brought to you by Matthews Archery. Elevate your archery experience with premium compound bows, accessories, apparel, and branded goods. Visit MatthewsInc.com to learn more. Winchester Deadly Passion is presented by Winchester, the American legend. Matthews Archery. DSG Outerwear, doing something great. Fleet Farm, built for real life. Nocturnal, bright, long-lasting, string-activated. Walkers, protect it or lose it. Safari Club International, first for hunters. Bog, engineered for the unknown. Boss Buck, for the most user-friendly and dependable feeder on the market. Reinhardt, the best archery targets in the world. Winchester, the American legend. And these other fine sponsors. Melissa Bachman is in Salt Lake City touring the Easton Archery Factory with Clint Warner, Director of Product Development.
So now we've entered the carbon side of things. Tell me what we've got going on here.
Yeah, so the way we make our arrows is through a process we call AccuCarbon. And the difference with the AccuCarbon process is something not a lot of people understand. Most arrows are made with what's called a wrap and roll process, where you take flat sheets of carbon fiber pre-preg and wrap them around a metal mandrel. They get cured and they get ground. The downside to the conventional way of making arrows is that you have a lot of inconsistency in shaft to shaft to shaft, so you have to do a ton of sorting to be able to get a dozen shafts that all weigh the same. But the other downside to that is you end up with a high spine side on the arrow, and you have to really be careful for spine inconsistency, which is actually more detrimental to accuracy than straightness consistency is. Our AccuCarbon process is unique. We're the only ones in the world that do it, and we do it here in the United States. And what it does is it produces a seamless arrow, and because we use these special machines, one machine, for example, if you look here, a whole bunch of rolls of carbon fiber on this machine. Each one of these rolls is about a mile long when it's new. It's going to make one continuous arrow that's upwards of a mile long. Then now the machine's going to cut it off into sections in an arrow length. What you end up with is a perfect arrow. Now our process doesn't have any additional grinding steps or anything else, so you end up with an arrow that has perfect spine consistency with no seam, perfect weight consistency from shaft to shaft to shaft, and also from batch to batch to batch. And so I like to point out that what we do is different, and really our difference is there's no difference. That's the difference.
And for me, Easton arrows have been that staple that I need in my bow hunting career, and they have been there by my side on so many incredible hunts.
Look at that.
From antelope to mule deer to elk, all across the United States and world, Easton was right there by my side.
As the world's oldest and largest supplier of shafts and components for arrow building, there is perhaps no name more familiar in archery than Easton. Today, most people associate Easton with high-tech aluminum and carbon composite arrow shafts, but the company's early roots were in the design and manufacture of exceptionally fine, handcrafted wood arrows and bows. The story of Easton spans a century, beginning with one man operating out of his garage, to today, with the development and supply of the world's most advanced archery products. Easton, the longest-standing archery company in the United States, is proud to celebrate their 100th anniversary.
Now I have to say there is a lot that goes into it, and it has been so awesome to see it all the way from the very beginning to a finished package.
Yeah. And you know, from here, it's pretty well done. We got them bundled up, we're gonna box them and then ship them all over the world right out of this building.
That's incredible. We're right here in Salt Lake City, seeing it all at the Easton factory. It has been an amazing day to see everything that goes into it. And if I wasn't sold on it before, you will be now.
It takes a spark to light a fire.
This segment is brought to you by HuntStand, the #1 hunting app in the world. Everything you need, all in one app. Precision mapping tools, custom map options, offline mapping, track wind and weather, real 3D, landowner information nationwide, and public hunting lands near you.